Under normal circumstances, I hate Mondays because on Mondays there always happen catastrophes. Perhaps you have already experienced that in your own life as well. But since it's dephemerember, we can't talk about normal circumstances, can we? And today must be a special Monday because today we are going to get some cheese. So what can happen? I mean, it can only become good. Welcome, this is Luise Heinzl. Welcome to another video of dephemerember 2024. Today I'm even more excited than on other days of dephemerember because today I think I am allowed to create something without guilty conscience, I think is the English word for that. And that is something that my co-host Barbara at 49 Dragonflies really, I think I can't say that she hates it, but it's not her favorite thing to do. And she says, meh, that is boring. I do that differently. And I'm talking about the shape of a tuck spot. I really, really love triangular tuck spots. Barbara, please excuse. And we had this discussion for like many years. And every time we have dephemerember or we are talking about tuck spots, then we have this like running joke. Where's this paper now? Holy moly. Where's this paper? And here it is. And oh my goodness, this is so funny. I remember another year of dephemerember, I don't know exactly which one it was, where I made really enthusiastically a triangular tuck spot. And I was like, oh, here, that was the one where I made with staples a little ornament on a triangular tuck spot. I will link the video down below for you. And in that year, Barbara said in her video of that day, triangular tuck spots, how can you do that? That looks totally boring. And I did exactly that in my video. I made a triangular tuck spot. So I thought, since we are talking about cheese today, I mean, a triangle then must be allowed because some cheeses are triangles, aren't they? I found this paper here. I mean, it's Barbara's fault. She has given me this paper with the 50 scraps we have swapped. So if she gives me a cheese paper, then, you know, she can't say, it's boring. Of course, I'm just kidding. So let's turn this into a cheese. This paper originally was a square, nearly a square. I have already used the other half for my German video. So if you want to watch that as well, of course, you are welcome to do that. And for all of you, or to all of you who always or nearly always do that, I mean, watching my German videos as well, thank you very, very much. That is a ton of support if you do that, even if you don't understand, well, the most of you don't understand the German language. I really appreciate when you write comments below my German videos as well. And I see that you watch those as well. That is really, really nice and kind. Look, it's done. Auf Wiedersehen. Of course not. This is nice, but we can make it even nicer if I can find my paper here. I have some black papers here, or nearly black. I think in the German video I've used this pattern. That was the best choice, I think. Yeah, I don't want to have it too dark, but I need contrast so that we can see these holes from the cheese. And I thought it is also nice when there are these little tiny white things. This is a little bit too small, but that is not a big problem because we can just take the rest and then glue it there. So I'm going to take some glue and I will just glue the black paper to this one here. I also do that because This paper here is a little bit fragile. I don't know what Barbara has used for making this, but I have the feeling with the mediums on here, I mean, it's not a problem, yeah, we can make it sturdier, but with the mediums on here, the paper got a little fragile, so I'm backing this end with this, and I also want to avoid that my tuck spot can get damaged with these holes, because you know, when you have holes in here and you put, for example, a journaling card or so into the tuck spot later, it can happen that you come to these holes and then it tears or so, and of course I want to avoid that. So how do I have to do this? Perhaps like this. So this looks pretty good already, I would say, but I want more cheese. I want to have something that is like, yeah, that looks a little bit like a plate with cheese, but really abstract, and a triangle. So I found this jeans jelly print in Barbara's scraps, and I'm hoping that this is big enough. If I put it here like so, I want this. I mean, you could do it parallelly to this. I want a little like banderole over here, like a little decoration. First I thought I want to have it really parallel to this here, but then I found out that it looks way better when it's like this, because cheese is often also, how do you say that in English, sliced irregularly. Does that make sense? So let's make this also not completely parallel, but a little slimmer here than here. And let's then turn that into a piece of cheese as well. If you don't have such a punch, you could also use one of these, you know, these normal office punches where the thing makes two holes at the same time. That would also, of course, work. This would even work with only one size of holes, I would say, but please use what you have. You could even make this like bigger and use a die cut, or perhaps you have these small die cuts, I don't know. You could even, if you don't have something like this, you could of course even take a black pen or so and just draw some circles. Doesn't need to be holes. So this one I want to back with completely black paper, because I want more contrast and more, not more contrast, but more interesting things here. I don't want to have this all the same. So I just glue this down here. So let's cut this off. Let's then ink the edges. I'm using some Vintage Photo oxide ink here. I think that looks really nice. So then later on this can go on here somehow like this, but I think we can add even more cheesy things. I found this here in my stash. I got this in a really cute Happy Mail a while ago. I've also used this, perhaps if you know my channel, then you know this fabric. I've used this for my Halloween in August junk journal, and this is just, you know, a leftover. I also have this lace here. Do you remember my junk journal experiment with the washing machine? Yes, this is some of the pieces which survived. And I think this looks really nice, and I want to layer this here somehow. And when I look there, I see that I also have these pieces left. These come from the German video, and I'm just thinking, I mean, this looks a little interesting, doesn't it? Look, this corner there, I had this and then I, you know, I have sewn around it and cut it off, but I think I don't want to waste this piece. What is this? Oh, this also looks nice. Perhaps we can include that somehow later, so let's have that in mind. And let's then see if this is a good proportion for this. I think it's a little too wide. Cut this a little smaller. Ooh, not too small, like so. Let's then attach this here with a little bit of glue. I will go to my sewing machine in a second, so I will only put a tiny little bit of glue here so that it grabs just for the moment until I go to my sewing machine. But if you don't have a sewing machine, then please glue this on better than I did it here with more glue. We don't want to have our ephemera pieces falling apart. This is really good. But before I put this on here, I want to attach this lace here. I want to put it under this slice of cheese. And then I will take this to my sewing machine, sew this on this, and then I will put this on here, and I will make some decorative stitches over here and also around the whole tuck spot. So here I am back. What happened here? Why is here no sewing? Okay. I think perhaps, that has perhaps a reason. The Junk Journal universe wants to tell me something. Look, I put this to the other side so that I don't accidentally cut through it. I cut this off. That's, by the way, also how these pieces came to life. Cut this off here as well. And perhaps this wants to tell us that we shall make something here. I think it wants to be like so. Like a little flap. And perhaps this looks a little bit weird, but I think this wants to be here, and it wants to be covered up in a second by something else. This edge, I mean, I like this on the little thing here, and I like this sewing here, but this edge here, this looks now a little bit weird because it's really... but I could put it lower, like so, only to the, only to the flap. That looks better. Look, then it's, here the tuck spot ends, and here this scrap starts, so it's on one line and not this weird overlapping thing. But I will also sew here over this area in a second, because I think that makes it more interesting. But what about these? I think that looks too weird to me now. Nope, that's too much. I think these will go into my scrap box. Okay, so then I will go again to my sewing machine and do some sewing here, so that this little thing looks like it was done here on purpose, and that it doesn't look anymore like a leftover. Then it looks like this. Of course, you could do this whole thing also without a sewing machine. What is this now? Oh no. Without a sewing machine, that is also possible, of course. You can also just take a black pen, or this is not black, my sewing is not black here. You could take a brown pen, of course, as well, and just draw some faux stitching. That also looks nice. On the fabric, it could be harder, of course, because, with a fine liner, this here, for example, would not work on fabric. It would probably bleed, but you could consider some permanent ink, for example, archival ink, and then perhaps you have a stamp which can imitate sewing, or you could even take acrylic paint and a really small paintbrush and then do some faux stitching just by painting it on. So then, what to do next? I need something which I don't have here. Let's see. Does Barbara have something in here that I could use for that? Because I want to make a little quote on here. Perhaps And Barbara, please be proud of me now, okay? I've learned something from Barbara. Perhaps you know that English is not my mother tongue. I think I have approximately 452 videos on my channel where I say English is not my mother language. I just learned that that is not correct. I think it needs to be, it's not my native language, but if you say that with mother, then it needs to be mother tongue. And because of that, I want to do something. And I will write it here. I had a well, but how? Holy moly! I need first. Louise, think before you do this, because this is a really beautiful paper, and you don't want to destroy this. When I watched, that is a long time ago, when I watched a video by Tim Holtz, that was a live video on his YouTube channel. He made something, I can't even remember what that was, and suddenly he said, "Geez Louise." And I understood, I mean, that's because English is not my mother tongue. I understood cheese Louise. So cheese, yeah, like the cheese. And I know that the spelling and also the pronunciation is completely different, but that is in my head since that day I heard it. I heard Tim saying that. So that is the reason why I want to write cheese Louise here instead of geez Louise, because that is the joke for me. Hopefully that is funny for you as well. Hopefully this, oh my goodness, how big can I write this? And also these gold splatters make me a little headache. Oh no. And I also want to do that because some of you have problems saying my name, Luise, in German, and that's obvious because, you know, if you don't, if German is not your mother tongue, then it's hard for you to say Luise. This z in the end is really hard, and Louise is obviously the English spelling of the word. Shall I now? Well, if I write Luise now, then no one would read cheese Louise. I need to write this in English. So that means I need to write L, oh that's so weird, O, U, Lu, E, I have problems, Z. I need to write it like this, otherwise you could, perhaps you can't understand the joke. This pen is a catastrophe. It doesn't work on this. Is this funny for you as well, or is this only funny for me because I understood Tim wrong, or I didn't understand him wrong, but I heard the sentence for the first time in his video. Yeah, well, I understood him wrong because you already got me. Is this funny anyway, or isn't this funny at all? Is this only funny for me? I don't know. No matter what it is, I want to have it here. Hallelujah. I hate my handwriting, but I have to live with this now. Okay, I think but this is a little funny, isn't it? Oh, okay. The exact position for this, we will determine that in a second. Let's first take an old book page or something similar, and let's make some buttons. Of course, you could take real buttons, but I can already feel that my dephemerember journal is getting really, really fat. That is probably also because I do 2 videos for each prompt. At least until today I did that, and I made every project twice because I want to be as close as possible to you, and I have the feeling when I record my video and then make a voiceover. Many of you have suggested that, and thank you very much for that as well, because that shows that you put a lot of thoughts into what I am doing here, and you try to help me, and I really appreciate that. So many of you have said, yeah, you could record the video and then make a voiceover so that we can understand you, but that is absolutely terrible for me. I have tried that, and there are videos with voiceover on my channel, but I found out that that is absolutely not doable for me, because I feel like running after a bus which is leaving when I make a voiceover. It's so hard for me to do that. And it also helps me when I create something and explain that, you know, that I can, for example, show this instead of just doing it and then, you know, the need to explain it without being able to put my finger on it. And I lost my track. Track? Oh no. Ah, I have it. I make these, I'm so sorry. I make these buttons from paper because then they are not so thick. They are also handmade then, obviously. And, you know, my journal doesn't get so bulky because of the fact that I have everything twice in the journal. And it's then already, with that, it's already pretty thick. And now, when I want to put these on here later, but I want to see these holes really well. So I am going to take a piece of black paper. I don't want to use the holes in my buttons to sew the buttons on, but I want to glue them down later. That's the reason why I put this black paper behind here, and that also makes the holes more visible. And now I want to take some ultra thick clear embossing powder. This one is by Ranger. By coincidence, the felt of the dabber is exactly the same size like my buttons are. Thanks, Ranger. That is really helpful. And now I will put multiple layers of the powder on here just by going in here. Then I emboss that, go into the powder again, and so on until I have a nice and equal coat on here. So let's see how we can arrange these here. Since we have this thing here, this little weird triangle, perhaps we should put one button here somehow, and then we could put the others. Can you see this line here? Perhaps we can put them here on this line, like so. But it still looks a little bit boring, doesn't it? It needs something. First I thought it needs a butterfly, because butterflies solve every problem and they make everything better and more interesting and so on. But I don't know if this is perhaps a little bit too much for my taste here. Barbara always says, for Luise, more is more. That is not always true, but sometimes. I have to admit, sometimes it's true. Where's the second part of this? Do I necessarily need the second part of that? Because normally I don't do that. I mix them. This is from the Scribbly Butterflies die cut set by Zizix and Tim Holtz. And this is from another set, I can't remember the name at the moment, where it cuts this solid shape, but also in the same set there are, it's not, yeah, doch, it's this one. It cuts this, ne, so dass das dann hier so übereinander ist, wisst ihr? Versteht ihr das? That it looks like this and that you can see through it. Do you know what I mean? But this is too much. Well, do you think it looks good like this? Can someone please scream and tell me that? This is the wrong color, but we could change the color, but I want to see how it looks with white. And another shape. Perhaps it would be good if it had this color here, but that is hard to recreate because where's the bigger piece? What has she used here? She has used this white stuff, is this acrylic spray she has. And what was the blue? Can someone remember what this blue was? Is that the oxidation of forest moss? Stormy sky mixed with weathered wood. Let's see if that can work. This is weathered wood. This is stormy sky. And this is really hard because this is white. And, you know, there's a ton of different colors. It's not one solid color in this area. Also here, it's not one solid color. So I'm trying to get not too much water to this so that it doesn't get too liquid. If it would be too liquid, it would be really light on this paper. I mean, I can make more layers, obviously, but... Oh! Oh, I am so good. Let's try this. Not perfect, and I think I can live with that. But I also want to have perhaps a cheese thread under the butterfly. And I'm thinking if I want to put something under this label as well, that looks still a little bit boring. What do you think? I think I'm going to ink this with black. This is black soot archival ink. What do you want from me? Okay. It wants to get... Oh, this is too small. It wants to get a lighter frame. No problem, little label. Do I have this layer or this layer in a lighter color which is close to... Ah, here, look. Which is close to the frame I just made for the label. This is a little bit pink. Oh, but what if we... Oh, like so. I think this is good. I will glue all of these pieces down. I think I really like this. This is really nice. So let's then tackle the probably hardest challenge of this whole thing with the tuck spot. Let's choose a page. I like the thing with the flower here, but this color and this color is absolutely not acceptable together. If this butterfly wasn't here, this page would be perfect because the oxidation here fits perfectly to this. No. And I'm really hoping that Barbara sees that triangular tuck spots can also look good. Barbara, are you watching? And here, look, on your paper. Look how wonderful this triangular tuck spot looks on your paper. This is from the, how is this set called? Lives Remembered set. You can find all of the printables we've used for making the journals on our dephemerember landing pages. They are linked down below this video. And now you can use this tuck spot to put something in. I use this card as an example. I mean, this would, of course, fit perfectly in here. I just remember that Barbara has sent this card to me in the beginning. Here's the German translation. And that card has this paper on the back as well. Look. So perhaps I should do it like this and store the card here. On the other hand, I mean, I can put that in later. On the other hand, I am freaking out because I want to see the front of the card. But this shall also be just a little, you know, example how you could use this. This also looks good. These colors fit really well. And I think the butterfly and the dragonfly here, which Barbara stamped there, looks really nice together. So we can make a little check mark here. And tomorrow, if you want, we can see again with the prompt flip out page and old photos. To be honest, until now, I have absolutely no idea what I want to do. I mean, the prompt list says what I shall do, a flip out page, but I have no idea how I want to do that. But I'm sure I will come up with an idea for you for tomorrow. If your life is boring or so, then please, I'm sorry, please check out Barbara's video. Don't go to bed, don't go shopping, don't sleep or whatever. Go to Barbara's channel and check her video out. She's, of course, showing you another idea on today's prompt today. And then have a very creative day. Then you can sleep and then you can come back tomorrow, okay? See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.